psychomotricity, Rolf in itself, but also as a therapist. I've been doing mostly manual therapy, but also in communication. So hands and feet, they are a system, they work together. So I'm going to divide these 50 minutes that we have together. I'll do a little, so you have some reflection about what the hands are, either anatomically, physically, emotionally for you, in terms of us as human beings, mammals, life organisms, and also the feet, how they work to support us, to be connected to the earth, and of course, to give us more the support for locomotion. So Rudolf Steiner, the creator of Waldorf pedagogy, said that the balanced thinking and good judgment of an adult will depend much more on whether a child has been taught to use his hands and fingers in a correct and practical way than later on the exercise of logical thinking. And that sentence really made me to think that this is what I've been seeing through my career as a physical therapist first, when I study what we call psychomotricity, how the child develops as the movement patterns are able to maturate, to get more into the nervous system. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation with you. So I like this picture very much, and I'll talk about it a little later, because it's really how I wanted to describe my presentation, the importance of the hands and feet, not only, as I say, as therapy, but in coaching, relationship. And I'll give you practical tools that how you can work with your hands to sense more your nervous system and your emotional states, how the feet and hair can help for that. So a connection is established between the mobility of the fingers and flexible thinking and the generation of ideas. And it sounds a little ambiguous, but it's very clear when you get it in your body. So as the child if the teachers that the children train with the movement of their limbs and fingers later creates healthy forces for thinking. So in a daily basis, hands do many things for us. They are essential tools we use to touch, wrap, feel, recognize, hold, manipulate, care. But they are so complex that they can perform extremely delicate and precise activities such as writing, painting, threading a needle, but they also allow us to perform heavy tasks that they require more strength. So it's not one or another, we need both. We also use our hands to feel if something is cold or hot, rough or smooth, and for all those variety of functions, our hands have that capacity of adaptation. So the hands have become a vital part of how we live and how we express ourselves. And they have become a symbol for us human beings. So the hands is the symbol of our of being human. Like being biped is our posture, how we say, like if I don't go in quadruped, it will be funny if I will just come into the class and being in quadruped and you will look like, well, I could do it, but that's not our identification as human beings. We are standing up and the hand is the symbol that we have as human beings. So what we know is that the transformation of the brain made the hand the organ of the dialectic relationship characteristic of Homo sapiens, as I said, is a constant organ. I say organ. Look at the skin of the palm of the hand. It's very different from the dorsal. And the same for your foot, okay? You have a different skin Okay, so that's not only, it's to see, is to get information, what's going on. So the hand has this multifunctional organ performing all these things that you see in the screen, that we are able to sense, orient, protect, do. And we need to know that it's the hand is the last part of a kinetic chain that comes from here, from the front, but also from the back. So the hand is our expression coming from our center. When you're talking about yourself, when you recognize yourself, this is you. I will not present myself or say thank you, and I will say thank you. It will be a little weird, right? Or I will say thank you, I could do it. But it's strange. We appreciate it. We touch because the hand is connected to the center that we recognize, where we feel the gratitude, where we feel the compassion, where we feel the emotions. So the hand, it not only starts here, it could start anatomically speaking. And by the way, there's some muscles also coming across, but it comes from the center. Okay? And also the hand, the arm is connected to the back, also with the latissimus dorsi, which is a muscle that we have used all the time for hanging. So at the sensory level, the importance of the hand is such that the brain develops a lot of representational space to the hands. And we call this the homunculus. The homunculus, the idea of the homunculus, it starts in the Middle Ages. You know, it brought also alchemy. It was believed that the homunculi were humanoids that emerged by combining human organs or fragments with other materials. So the result was this kind of little toys or little hybrids, we will say. But if we will have to do a representation on our brain, what the hands and the feet are, the hands, they play a major role. They are in the sensorial and motorial part. They're connected to the mouth. So this is very important to understand, that the hand plays a major role for speaking. And this motor homunculus also it creates the representation of how important in terms of motor our hands are. So sensorial or motor, they are very important for our nervous system, whatever we do it. So the hand together with the brain constitute just a non-invisible functional pair, which they are reacting to each other closely all the time. Whatever you're doing with your hand, you not only touch, you be in touch. Whatever you're doing with your hand, it arrives right away to your brain. And it shows the very little kind of devotion, dedication, softness, aggression, everything that we want to express, and sometimes we don't express with words, it could express in the hands. So that's why I found that the hands, they play, not yet, the hands play a major role in communication. So experts, they estimate that in a conversation, like 65% of communication, between 65 and 80%, some people even say more, take place with nonverbal communication. So the words, they are about 30% important. So the tone of your voice, how you use your body, how the others perceive you, they're so important that they could even more important in the TED conferences. It's interesting because the conferences that people have seen the most, they were the ones that they did statistics, and they took the volume out and made people to watch them without voice. And they also were the same ones that people say that they were the best. So it means that your body, your communication, even without words, they're bringing something to whoever is watching and listening, that thinks that, okay, what's going on? How am I receiving? And the first thing that our nervous system will do always in communication is, do I feel safe? Do I trust? Then I exchange. If not, I will protect. So in our hands, that they go a millisecond before the words, the mouth, the hands move just a little before the voice. So they show how safe we feel or not related to the other person. So the other person, if they feel that we are tense, they could also reject our relationship, even if we say nice words, because it will, the hands, they are, as I say, they are an expression of what is coming from your heart, and whatever that means, physically, emotionally, from that space. So the intention of a stranger, if I, forgive me for what I'm going to do, but if I will want to just bring this to you, you know, automatically you will react. So if I have not said anything, so a fist, a finger, you know, symbols that people are doing, they are, because the hand is a symbol, it has interpreted, but it counts really for what is happening here inside. It's not the finger, or it's really what's happening. If I go like this with the finger, but you know, there is no intention, but if I go like this, there is a support coming with my whole body that is it shows, even if I don't speak, that something it's coming. Tell to my children, they know when it's coming, even if I don't speak. So when we are fixed with our hands, okay, when we feel rigid, even if we don't want to, we are expressing rigidity to the other persons. Imagine you will not see my hands and I will be communicating here. You will not be so attractive. We need that strength, because in a relationship, if you don't see my hands, if I'm talking, if I will be talking like this, even if I get very enthusiastic, it will not be a fluidity in the movement. So pay attention to your hands. Pay attention to your coachee when you are in the session. How are the hands? Because it's a physiological thing, and they are first, that many of the signs that they're coming afterwards. So our brain are prepared to involve our hands in the precise communication of our emotions, thoughts, and feelings. So you can see, look at their bodies, look how, you know, do they want to meet? Do they really, where this come from? If it's coming from, you know, so look how the hand is a projection of your intention. And even if I will not have hands, if you see people that they don't have arms, and you see when they're talking, you see a lot of movement here happening. There are a lot of movement happening. Even the sign for people that they cannot speak is a lot of movement, because it shows the expression. So when we are speaking, the person that is listening or hearing sometimes, they focus on our hands much more than we think. And that's one of the signs, unconsciousness, most of the time, that it creates a fluid or not communication. We also need to know, this is flamenco, that to bring that strength in the hand. It has to have a body, it has to have a support. And that's why the feet are so important. So from where does my hand start? Does my hand start here, here, here? Start from my intention. And if I have a good support, I can be free here. If I don't have a good support here, I will be holding myself, and I could show hostility to the other person. So support is a key point for trust. And biologically speaking, related to the nervous system, we need trust and support. And those are the key points for trauma and for other, I'm not saying, I mean, you have watched other colleagues talking about therapy and trauma. So support is a key point for trauma. So working on the feet and the hands can release part or at least regulate part of the nervous system. My father, he passed away this year, and that was just a few days before, and it was with the COVID, and it was so difficult not to touch him. For me, it was just like, how can I reach him more? How can I be more present? And I realized how important are the hands. So holding hands, is giving yourself. So every day we have an opportunity to decide how we want to relate to the other person, how we want the others to receive us, just by shaking your hand, just by touching. If you are a therapist and you give in the hand, but if you are a manual therapist, massage therapist, if you touching people, you have the opportunity every day to bring your heart to the other person. How we touch others, it's also determining how we feel. So if we feel supported, then we can support the others. If I don't feel supported, the other will feel that I'm rejecting them, even if I want to support them. So this hand can be a loving hand. It could be hate. I could say yes, I could say no. So my embodiment, it's very important for trust and for everything that we do in our daily life related to emotions. The first time we touch others is usually through a handshake, and it seems something, that we don't pay attention, but remember, there will not be a first chance to say hello. So it's always the first time that we giving this kind of imprint on the other person, and sometimes we don't like the person and we don't know why, what's happening. So, and remember that in some cultures there's no handshake. People kiss or they hug directly. So a handshake is just a way of saying, here I am, I trust you, you trust me, we're together. This is a handshake. So if we are rigid because we are tense, because we are emotionally tense, even if we have injuries, we show that on the other person. And I discovered this with myself because I injured when I was young, and I have a problem in my thumb, and they told me you should not do manual therapy because, and I remember the first days, the first years, I have a lot of shoulder problems because of my way of touching. And then that's how I discovered that working daily on my hands, I was much more open here, but I was able to do what I wanted to do and how to express and how to work daily. So another thing, when we are tense in a nervous system, when we cannot express through the hands because whatever is limiting us. So imagine I'm holding myself, okay? So let's see how I can do this myself. So imagine I will have been telling you about that I live in the beach, and I cannot even find words when I'm limited to my expression. Okay, and this is happening to many people when we are limited in our expression because we don't feel the trust. We have difficulties to find the appropriate words for the communication, but even for our relationships. So, and that's an exercise that we could do together. I do it all the time. Type people and tell them to tell me something about what they did today. And they have difficulties for memory. So this is something that we in coaching and therapy, we can really start, make people to have more movement in the arms, and they will have a better capacity to verbalize words. So the hand is a product of our brain, and our brain is a product of our hands. The more we want to do intelligent thing, the better the brain develops and the more fine skills we develop. So also very important to know that the hands and the feet, they are a system. So if you want to be strong in your hands, you need support. You need the support from the feet to be strong. Otherwise, you will be pushing. You will not be strong. You can push, but you will not be strong. So they are a system in the nervous system, hands and feet. We develop that strength when we are growing as children. Okay. And of course, all the hands with all the mudras, all the possibilities for the hands that we use in religion, we use in meditation, all the possibilities. So the hand is really a symbol and expression of the whole nervous system. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you, if you don't have it, we're gonna start doing some exercise together. Is that okay? So get ready, find some space. And I have little tools every day next to my office when I'm teaching. Nobody sees them, they're there. So to prepare myself, but even if I'm listening and I'm getting tired, I always do hand exercise to keep what? To keep fluid, my shoulder girdle, to keep open my heart, and that's very important, and to release my neck. So this is a title ring. So it was difficult to tell you to bring one, but I just wanted to show. And I just go finger by finger, rolling the ring, okay? And this is one of the things that I use all the time. But if you don't have it, what you can do, just imagine you are just going up and down very slowly with each of the fingers. So we're just gonna do this little massage in each of the fingers. I'll do it with the ring and you can do it with your hands. And we're gonna do a whole sequence in one hand and we're gonna do a whole sequence on the other hand. So we start with a little finger, 5 or 6 times.
Bibiana, if you could stop the screen share so we could see you clearly. If you could stop the screen share during the exercise. Thank you.
And we don't need.
And then Svetlana, if we can be on speaker view. Great.
So, okay. So maybe what we should do is we should stand up and see how our arms are hanging in our daily basis. How my arms, am I holding here? Do I feel rigidity? How do you feel your hands? How do you feel your hands? Take a little walk. How are they hanging? Okay, great. So now let's go one by one, starting. Let's start with one leg, with one arm, and we go finger by finger. And all the exercise, they're very easy. Everybody can do it. Okay, the important thing is that when you do it, try to be focused on what you're doing. Try not to do it as a mechanical thing. Get connected, understand your hand, feel it, sense it. And if you can relax your shoulder and really sense. And also important, try to keep a little relaxed your mouth so you're not holding up here. So that gives you a little more support from the floor. Okay, now we continue. We're gonna give a little massage in between each of the fingers, and when we are in the middle of this membrane, interdigital membrane, we push a little bit to the membrane. We push a little bit the membrane. So we do a little massage, and then you push a little bit. Try to be soft. It's not compression. It's just let it go. And your arm, so this arm is coming to this one, and this one is kind of pushing. So the work is actually done by this one and not by this one. So you are each of the fingers. Okay. And now, if you have you can do it on a bench, or you can do it on your own table. You're gonna take the tennis ball, and you're just gonna put the hand on top of the tennis ball, the other hand on top of the hand, open a little bit your feet, and relax your whole weight onto the ball. If you feel that the hand is a little rough for you, you can get a rubber ball, which it will be easier to do it. And open a little your feet, and don't move the ball. You're just moving your body side to side, and change your neck, okay? Change to one side, to the other, one side to the other. And now we're gonna give a massage to the hand. Very slowly. Use your body weight to roll the ball. Use your body weight to roll the ball. Just a little bit. Play a little bit. The less mechanical you do it, that you're not thinking doing on repetitions, the better. And now, just take a little walk and see if something has changed. Take a little walk and see if something has changed. If something has changed, how you perceive hanging one arm from the other, how you perceive one arm from the other. And if that also has changed some support from the feet, maybe yes, maybe not, but just perceive it. Take a little walk and sense how the swinging of the arms, how they do it. Okay, so now we're gonna do the other hand. Oh, I forgot the spoon. So when you are in the kitchen, okay, you can take, it's very good, but also you can use the spoon to open the palm if you don't have a tennis ball in the kitchen. So press a little bit, be careful with the joint of the thumb, don't hyperextend, and push a little bit. So you can be on the bench in the kitchen, just playing a little bit. You can even do this with a spoon. And just play a little bit. By the way, I use the spoon for everything, but that will be another class. But I use it for my neck and for everything. So you cook it, clean it, or put it in your mouth and play a little bit with your hand. Okay? So let's do the other hand. For those of you that don't have the ring, remember, go finger by finger. So we're gonna make a little massage, sensing that your hand Look how many bones. The more bones, the more joints, the more we are able to do things. So don't think about passing the ring as a rigid thing, like you put it in an iron bar. Think that you are moving those joints. You want to get to know your joints. Hello, joint. Hello, phalange. Hello. So try to go each of the phalange sensing. If it's painful, as we develop arthrosis, as we get older, you have to go slower. But try to really mobilize. Each of the fingers.
Got someone asking, is that a special type of ring you're using, or just an?
Yes, I'll write it. I'll write it in the chat. Okay. And then we come to the massage. Of course, there are other sequences that you can do, but this one is very easy and it doesn't require any expenses. Also, remember the push, because that's creating, this spring is activating the synovial liquid of all the small joints that we're creating. So we are activating the synovial capsules, okay? And then we take the tennis ball and try to be creative, okay? Try to be creative. You move side to side. The important thing is that you let it go, your body weight. You can use your breath. So every time you are exhaling, you let it go. Important that your neck is relaxed, okay? So that you're not holding your neck. Okay, be creative. You can move. And then use your own body weight to roll the ball front and back. Front and back. Relax your thumb. Keep your feet connected to the floor as much as you can. And just take a little walk. And see how you feel here. How's your breath? Of course, your hands. But we want to have that connection that when something changes in the hand, is also changing in my nervous system, in my connection, in my possibilities to be more open, more compassion. So, how are we doing? Should we go on a little bit for the feet?
Yes, let's do the feet.
So I'll write it in the chat. It's called Suyok ring or tactile ring. And I use it all the time because it's something that you can carry. Remember to play also with the spoon in the kitchen. Yeah. This is a very important area to release. We're holding a lot of emotional tension in the hand. Every time we want to do something and we don't do it, every time, we tie the teeth, we grind the teeth, but the hands, they go together. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get rid of also part of your tightness, the hand is very important and the feet are very important. They are a system. I'm hungry. I do this, or I'm holding, or I'm shocked. So the hand, it also shows. So why do I do this exercise? Do I do it because I'm bad? No, I do it because it shows me when my nervous system is getting a little stress, because the normal thing is to feel that your hands are open, and the hand has to have part of your action in the body. If you are walking and your hand doesn't have any vitality, the other person feel it. I remember talking to a good friend that has been a top model, and she said, you sense when what the model, she's really into the performance just by looking at the hands. And I've been looking at the hands of them. It's true. It's so important. It's so important that the hand is free for everything. Okay. Someone is saying that I wrote the name, but it only shows for the panelists and not for the participants. So, okay, thanks, Svelana. Okay, so we keep going and we're gonna move to the feet, okay? We're just gonna move to the feet. I love to teach these classes, feet and hands, as I do it one day because it's such a possibilities to understand so much about ourselves. I think that everyone that is also in the performance, like acting, expression, the hand, you know, it shows so much about us. You know, if I will be communicating like this, you will see a little weird my way of wanting to be kind or so on. So it's so important. If I will not be having my feet supported, soon I will be speaking like this, or I will be holding myself, or my voice will start damaged. And this is what happens many times to teachers and for people that they are in a stage or just speaking daily, that they losing the voice because they don't have the support from the whole core, from the pelvic floor diaphragm. You need the support of the diaphragm, but to have a good diaphragm, if you are standing up, you need the support also from the feet. So feet, you know, there's also so sensitive. See how they have a similar skin in the plantar. So it's not only to touch the floor. Of course, they touch the floor, but sometimes they say that the memories of the most tender childhood can be imprinted of them. They also could be very erotic. And so, and they need to be really resistant for running, for daily life. So the feet also in the global emotional context represents the connection with the Mother Earth, and therefore the disorders in this portion of the body are related to the mother of the maternal function. That's to say, whatever it means for each person. The nature of the mother is to provide food, shelter, and care. Therefore, she may be represented with the biological mother. So the feet are so important to be grounded, to be earth, to be connected. If I have that support, okay, I can go. If I don't have the support from the feet, you know, my whole expression will be limited. So that's why the hands and feet are working as a system. I just wanted to show you, those were my shoes, walking one path of the Camino Santiago, and that was the shoe before and the shoe after. So remember that we are built to be barefoot. Of course, we need the shoes because we are on the streets, on concrete, but it's very important that daily you take care of your feet and go barefoot, because it will be the same. That imagine that your hand will be, the whole day will be trapped, the whole day will be closed. So you're losing that sensorial part that is not only to just support, but to sense. You are kind of floating if your feet are well. You don't need to hold, because the feet, they show the whole weight, your whole body weight, which is the force of gravity going into the force. So any tension in the body, it shows in the feet. Any imbalance in the feet is going to show a tension in the body. So it's funny because when I was looking for pictures representing men and women's shoes, that's what I found mostly. So they were the standards. So it's a little awkward, but that's how it is. So when you lose the center of gravity, if you want to disempower a woman, put it in shoes. It has other connotations. I'm not saying no, but in terms of power, shoes, high heels, or tight shoes for men, they create a lot of tensions. Okay, so taking care of your feet is also very important for our emotional state, because of what I say, talking about support and trust. There are many kinds of shoes, and every once in a while they appear fashion, and we think that they are the greatest, and then we go for that. But the most important thing is that your feet is the shoe that you're buying is for your foot. It's not that we are adapting to the shoe because it's fashion. It should be the opposite. Okay, so sorry for not being precise. So it's very important that when we are buying a shoe, we take care of why do I want to use this shoe for. Okay, maybe I go to a party, maybe I go for the whole day. So we have different shoes for different things, and we also want to know for how long we're going to wear, how much intensity of my own body weight, if it's for the sports, if it's just for walking. But the most important is that you walk barefoot as much as you can in your daily basis, which you can do it at home. And if you, sometimes it will be good that in the middle of the day, just take your shoes and do a little of the exercise that we are going to do. Okay, so feet are I was just giving a session online to a very appreciate patient that I've been working for years, and she had rheumatoid arthritis, and we are working on how not to compensate the upper body so much. So we are always working on the upper body so she can get better in her feet, and working with her feet so she doesn't have any injuries because of her feet. So I have learned a lot from her by her deformities. Okay, and of course, look at this Buddha, the support. Feet are sensing, they need, okay, and the way you relate to life, how you bring your body through life, is the way you walk through life. So every day you have the possibility to change also the relationship, how you relate to earth, how you relate to others, just by the way you walk. And you could say, but how do I change my walking? Well, if you sense how you're landing, how you put in your body weight, you can change a lot. And that's what we're going to do now. So we're just gonna get up and remember, take a look at this skeleton. See how delicate the 26 bones that the skeleton, the feet skeleton. So the more bones, the more delicate. So the feet is landing in a very delicate way. And then if it has the mobility, we can do the push-off. And if we have a good push-off and a good support, okay, then as I say, we can be free up here. If there is not good support, we will be holding up. And it could be holding in the knees, holding in the hips, holding in the low back, holding on the shoulders, holding in the hands, holding in the jaw, holding in the eyes. You know, I don't have a good support, I could hold with my eyes. And we see that a lot in trauma people. So the feet exercise apply also for everyone. It's not to release the high arches, it's a sensorial motor exercise. Okay? So I'm just gonna move this so you can take a look at my feet. The first thing we're going to do, I would like you just take a little walk and just, you are barefoot, and just sense how you perceive the floor. How you perceive the floor, okay? Is it rigid? How you landing? Just feel it. It could be a couple of steps, from back, side to side, or to just take a little walk. Okay? And now, we're gonna start on the right foot. Keep your feet separation, more or less to your hip or your shoulders. And we're gonna put the tennis ball just underneath the toes. And we're gonna work with our breath. every time we inhale and we exhale, and we want not to compress the ball, but to have a sensation of let it go. And we're gonna do it 3 times. Okay, we're gonna move the ball to the middle of the foot. And as you could see my hips, I'm not leaning to the other side. I'm not leaning to the leg that I have the ball. I just try to keep balance, my pelvis. Okay. And again, I'm breathing out like I wanted to sense the ball, not to compress the ball. I wanted to sense, I wanted to release my knee, my hip, my shoulder, my mouth into the ball. Okay. And I'm just putting now in front of the heel, in front of the calcaneus. Keep my toes releasing. I open my hands to make sure that I'm not holding up. So I'm open my hands and I breathe out, releasing my arms, releasing. I can move my head side to side and I take the ball out and just take a little walk and see if something has changed, just by doing the exercise. Probably many of you have done this exercise many times, but the important thing, and maybe the new thing that I want to bring and call your attention, is how you relate to the ball. Are you fire? Are you water? Are you earth? How you relate to the ball, okay? So let's do the other. Let's do the other leg. So first, we go into the toes, okay? Make sure that you are sensing that you putting weight and you want to sense really the ball underneath the toes. Like it's liquid, it's not a richer. Can this be melting? And you breathe out. And then you do it 3 more times in the middle of the foot. Release your neck, open your hands. Make sure that you relate to the ball in a way that you don't feel you compressing yourself. And the last part, you just let it go. Open your hand so you're not holding up. Exhale. Now you take a little walk. And see if something has changed. How you sense yourself. How you carry yourself through life. And we finish here from my side.
Thank you so much, Bibiana. That was a really, really nice exploration of the hands and the feet. Thank you. I think there was a couple of questions coming in. Someone asking about plantar fasciitis. I haven't said it right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a general exercise to talk into, I'm not talking if people have any pathologies. Like we need to also to understand how people get plantar fasciitis. And so most of the time you need to take pressure out, because usually people, they're landing more into in the collapsing. They don't have a good support of the outside arch. So that will be another class to do it. So this exercise, you have to do it maybe with a softer ball, and don't do it as an exercise in terms of releasing the plantar fascia, but how you relate to the floor. So you can do it sitting down and don't put your body weight, just how you relate to the floor. It's more like an emotional thing, more like a regulation of how you walk through life. But I'll be happy to help that person that is talking. And also barefoot, of course. If you cannot, we need to respect personal limitations.
Great. And one last question. Do you have any advice for people who are developing bunions on their big toe joints?
Okay. I think that the bunions also, there is a limitation on the push-off, and that's in the early stages. So working on the foot as a daily basis with some other exercise, that also works. I mean, I also will need to have a specific exercise for bunions. You know, we're talking about pathologies, we're talking about limitations, biomechanical issues. That was not the issue of the class, but I'll be happy to share some of that. Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you so much, Bibiana. I've loved listening to you and trying these exercises. I love this what you're saying about how the hands, how safe we feel and how we're using our hands. I think that's really, really interesting how they happen before we speak. Great. And the fact that when our hands are restricted, we have less capability to verbalize. That's a really, really interesting observation.
It is. It's just a millisecond before that your body needs that strength. And that's why also children with cerebral palsy, they have difficulties to speak because they don't have a fluid diaphragm. So if you want someone to speak well, you need the support, you need the diaphragm and the loosening up of the hands.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been really, really, really interesting. We're going to put your your website in the chat so people can reach out to you. That will be coming up in the chat in just a moment. If you want to watch the session again, you can watch it on the replay. We've got all the sessions from the conference available for the next 48 hours. So you can watch this again and get a little bit more juice out of it, or you can watch some of the sessions that have been happening on the other channels as well. So they're free for 48 hours. You may wish to have the library for your whole life, which is certainly something that I'm going to be doing. It's getting the library of all the sessions for the whole of my life, because I get to watch them in my own time, and I get notes, and I'll get some audio copies of it as well, so I can listen to it while I'm on the move, maybe barefoot walking through the park. You've inspired me, Bibiana. So if you can afford to upgrade, I would highly recommend it. It certainly helps us to keep this conference as a free event for those people who are unable to afford it. So we've got loads of sessions coming up still. We've got at 4 p.m. on the coaching channel, we've got Richard Mote, and he's going to be talking to us about proof that it is your emotions, not your thoughts and behaviours, that have the greatest influence on your success, happiness and health. So that will be coming up on the coaching channel at 4 o'clock. But for those of us who have been here with Bibiana today, I'm certainly feeling much more expressive and loose in my hands and feet. So thank you for that. Bibiana, if you could tell us what your top tip to be more embodied is.
Well, I think that pay attention to your hands, what your hands are doing. You know, we put our hands in the mouth. So pay attention to your hands while you are walking, where you are talking to someone. Feel also your feet. If you are holding the tension, just feel your hands and your feet more. And when you are dancing, but in your daily basis, if you pay attention and you say, okay, now I go to the bathroom, I just pay attention to my hands and my feet. Now I'm listening to the supermarket lady that she's giving me the cheese, you know, and what do you do in your hands and your feet? And sooner, I tell you, you will release neck tension and some other tensions without doing anything.